Okay, we are here with Bobby and Derravia Rich, the creators and founders of the Black Seeds Urban Farms here in Memphis, Tennessee. Uh, Profiling them for the M Made Me. So let's hop into it. How are you guys doing this morning?
Doing great,
So I'm
blessed.
doing surprisingly chilly. It's a little chilly
And
outside today.
for an April Friday, it's pretty cool. I got a hoodie on, and I didn't expect to have this for sure.
Right.
Um,
I know it.
so let's hop into it. Let me before we get into y'all together as a couple, let me learn a little bit about you individually. So, Deravia, tell me and the people listening about yourself.
Okay. My name is Derravia Rich. I'm 33 years old, born and raised in Memphis, Tennessee. I am an entrepreneur. Right now, I'm working in the agriculture industry, along with building up and starting Black Seeds with my husband Bobby. We're excited about Black Seeds. It has been a long awaiting for our grand open, but we are super excited to share with people this year what we have been working on. I love my city. It has been a true journey being back home here in Memphis. Bobby and I
Hmm.
just moved back home a few years ago, but since we have been back, it has been an uphill of many blessings and just a reawakening, as I would like to say.
A
Hmm.
reawakening, that is a great way to describe this phase of that Memphis is in right now. Like, we got a lot
Right.
Hmm.
of good stuff going on, and like I said before, y'all are a part of it. So let's get down to Mr. Rich. Bobby, let the people know a little bit about you.
So what's up, man? So yeah, my name is Bobby Rich. I'm the founder of Black Seeds Urban Farms. I'm a firefighter here in Memphis, Tennessee. I've been one for it'll be 6 years on 420 on Earth Day. Um, so that's really exciting. That's a humble and commendable job. I wasn't born in Memphis. I was actually, fun fact, I was born in Germany. I was born in Bremerhaven, Germany. My parents were in the Air Force, and so my mom's from here, my dad's from North Carolina, and they ended up moving back here in Memphis. So Memphis, I've grown up here since the third grade. So it's all in my talk. The mains, I'm Memphis. So Memphis is is where I walk to Ike's, and where we play tag, and this is it raised me, and so it's in a real kind of random way, but also in a very intentional way. It feels real purposeful to be here now, to give back to the city and to be a part of the rediscovery, you know, and the redevelopment, and just kind of imagining a new Memphis. Um, so yeah, and so I'm a master gardener as well. So yeah, let me throw that in there. That might be important. Um,
I also want to
but
say that we are the parents of Miss Court Rich. We have a 5.5-year-old daughter who is our light.
the star of the show,
So,
yeah, she's really the star of the
yeah,
show
so
though,
we
for real.
definitely got to make sure we include our little baby girl.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So,
can't forget her. We cannot forget
she
her.
she literally just
Yeah,
ran out of here
not,
too. I just opened up some
she
eggs
may pop
for her.
up
So
in the
yeah,
back and
she's
make sure we don't
right. I
forget
was
her.
just about to say, yeah. She said,
She
"What's up?"
like you said, she is a star of the show. She's going to be a social media superstar. I'm calling you right now.
Oh goodness.
Absolutely. Let me get prepared.
So we since Bobby, like you say, weren't born in Memphis, but you born in Memphis, for real. Germany,
Yeah,
no
man.
matter.
Come on, man. Come on.
You,
You in
Right.
town?
you know how it goes. So the normal Memphis question that everybody asks everybody is, where did you go to high school? Where did you go to school?
First of all, Jamal, you have the best questions. Like you have the best Memphis questions, bro. Like bar none. No, like your quizzes, they're the best. I went to White Station. I just wanted to cut the rave off because we an alumni. I know it's women first, but hey, White Station, Jamal, you already know how we get down, man. It was a
Yeah.
You know,
it was
you
an
you
awesome experience.
the White Station High School, just
The
so
White
people.
Station High School.
Okay.
Jamal,
I'm gonna
know
let
it.
y'all have y'all moment.
They don't come often. Yeah, baby. Let me shine a little. Yeah.
We take what we can.
Okay, well, Jamal, I went to Wooddale High School in East Memphis. I actually grew up in the Castaic area, Castaic Orange Mound area. It's funny. My mom's side of the family is from Castaic, and my dad's side of the family is from Orange Mound. So I like to say Castaic by way of Orange Mound because that's just what it is.
That's how it be. That's just how it be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, obviously, I mean, full disclosure for those listening, Bobby and I have known each other for a long time. We grew up in the same area. So Bobby's
Mm.
Whitehaven. I have on a Whitehaven hoodie right now, just so you know. We were part of that pipeline that grew up in the Haven that went to White State.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and it was a good amount of us. So let's talk about, like I said, before y'all moved back to Memphis, you were in Nashville for a while.
Mhm.
So let's talk about y'all time in Nashville. Y'all both went to TSU.
Yeah. We both went to TSU. I knew Bobby before college, but we didn't start dating until we got to TSU, until we were in college. But we lived in Nashville for maybe about 11 years. And we were there. And what brought us back home to Memphis is two reasons. Bobby got hired on at the fire department, City of Memphis Fire Department, and I end up getting pregnant. So Bobby getting a job with the fire department and us expecting a child is what brought us back to Memphis.
Okay. Let's talk about TSU for a second, because a lot of people, the HBCU scene is popular now, which I don't know if it's nationally popular now. People are getting a lot more attention. HBCUs are getting a lot more attention, and I don't know if that was the case when we were going to school, and even obviously before us. So, how was your experience at TCU? And I guess you could say, how did Memphis help prepare you for your experience at TCU? I mean, TCU at TSU.
Oh yes, I had a great experience at TSU. Like I still, think about those days living in Wilson Hall, going to Gentry, just being out in the student center. Like those years are, I cherish my college years because I met so many people. I had so many great experiences, and just being at TSU it was just like a huge part of my life. Not only did I meet my husband, but I just met so many lifelong friends that I love and that, really had a huge shaping of who I am today. Um, TSU, is their school. Let me just say that. And everybody that went to TSU, anybody that has been through those TSU Nashville streets, will agree and, testify that, TSU is just one of those schools that give you so many life lessons. We had a great time. Don't get me wrong. We did a lot in Nashville, but I always say that, Memphis raised me, but Nashville made me. Going to college, it grew me up, to a sense, and I appreciate that. And things that I learned in Nashville and those habits and new lifestyles, that I, got from being young in college, I still, use that day to day in my adult life. So TSU definitely grew me up. It helped me to it built me in my professional life, if I must say that. So I appreciate those years at TSU because a lot of things that some of my professors that I learned back in
Uh-oh.
I think I got
We lose you.
disconnected, but a lot of
Oh,
those
we got
things helped mold me into who I am today. So
Okay. Okay. I mean, the one thing, obviously, I didn't go to TSU. I didn't go to HBCU. But there's one thing that about TSU grads and TSU, that people who went to TSU, there is a sense of pride. They're gonna let you know that they went to TSU.
yes, we gonna let you
you.
know, Big Blue.
What I remember was it
Mm-hmm.
Get Geek is homecoming
It's
week.
homecoming week.
Oh yes, it goes down homecoming week.
Jamal,
I know a little bit. That's just by knowing
Jamal,
people.
no.
Right. Even last year, while the pandemic was going on and homecoming was canceled, I was literally at home with my blue on, still,
Hmm.
full of pride, even though I was
Yeah.
not physically in Nashville in that homecoming environment. In my heart, it was still there. So yeah.
There you go, Bobby. What was your experience like at TCU? TSU. Why am I keep calling
Yeah.
TCU? TSU. Right.
TSU. Let me see. It was kind of. I shared pretty much the same. Um, like the essence of like the sentiments is the same with the rap. We met each other there. I kind of knew her in high school. She started taking me a little bit more seriously in college, thank God. And and so that was cool. And those relationships, just like me and you, Slim, like there sometimes you get a chance to be present to see relationships kind of nurture themselves and grow, kind of like a plant does, right? So like high school friends, college friends, like all those are my best men at my wedding, you know what I mean? And then so like when I see you, Ezra and Saki and Cool, like all y'all still like taking pictures and stuff and like kicking in and communicating, that is so beautiful. It makes my heart warm because I'm like, that's the point of it all. And then not to just do that, but to do that where you were raised in the city that gave us so much, like that's a beautiful story. But what I've learned, like looking back in retrospective, being at HBCU in Nashville, which now I look at it as like is in the Bible Belt is what I would consider like a conservative city. Diverse, plenty of colleges, but in a grassroots kind of way, very conservative. Being in an HBCU in Nashville was like being in like an echo chamber. You feel what I'm saying? And it was almost like being in Africa and everybody's black. Like the doctor's black, the poor people are black, the rich people are black, the mailman, like everybody's like one thing. And then so when you step outside of that, and you're like, oh man, that was just right there. And so just that contrast and then coming back to Memphis from Nashville was also like a big like wow, like whoa, I'm back home again. And just the love of Memphians. It's like one huge family here in Memphis. Nashville is a lot. It's like it's cool, but it's very like it's like caste. They have like really like class separated. Like the rich people are all the way over here, and we might mingle at the mall or like downtown. But it's real separate. Memphis is like one huge like a true melting pot. I know that sounds cliche, but it reminds me how much Memphis is like a big small town. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, yeah, that's what I like to call it, the big city, small town. That's the kind of feel you get.
mm,
I think people like to say that there's, people can only say 6 degrees of separation, but in
Right.
it's usually 3 degrees of separation.
yeah, if they right, damn, yeah, that's Slim. That's
It
yeah.
ain't, it ain't that hard to find somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So let's jump into y'all leave Nashville in 2015, and you come back to Memphis. Bobby gets on as a firefighter, and Derravia, you come and you got your entrepreneurial spirit. What was the first thing? What was your first thing when you got here?
Well, when we first moved back to Memphis, of course, I was pregnant and I had a baby that year. So I was, on maternity leave for a few months. I went back into working into account management, team management, program development. And in that 2015 going into 2016 year, that was our first year being back home in Memphis. And that year, I went through a lot of challenges and obstacles in my personal life. And throughout those challenges, I was going through my own personal battle of wanting to step into entrepreneurship. So I've had over 10 years of experience working, like I said, in team management, general management. And so when I moved back home to Memphis, I didn't want to do that anymore. I don't know, what happened, but something inside of me just changed or stepped up to the plate and said, hey, what you have been doing, managing these companies, you can do it yourself with your own business. So it took me quite some time to actually step out on faith. But in 2019, that was my year.
Mhm.
2019 was another monumental year for me and Bobby. In 2019, we had some other issues going on. I had my grandmother, a family member. My grandmother got really sick in 2019, and I come from a very close knit family, Jamal. I come from a big family on both sides. My mama and my daddy sides are
Yeah,
huge,
she got
and
like eight
so
aunts and uncles.
yeah, I
And
come
I just
from
want to put
a
numbers so you
village.
can, yeah, it's a big,
Same.
Yeah, I come
it's
from a
five,
village of
it's five
aunts
of
and
them.
uncles
Yeah.
on my mom's side. And so when my grandmother, who, raised me like her own child, who is the matriarch of our family, when my grandmother got really ill and needed, full-time caretakers, I was one of many in my family who stepped up to the plate and said, hey, we have to figure out a schedule of what we're going to do to take care of mama. And so during that year, I decided to leave my job. I left my job because I wanted to step into entrepreneurship anyways, and it was something that was literally about to explode on the inside of me. I could not take it anymore, clocking into work and being working for someone else. And so I had been telling Bobby this for quite some time. And Bobby, he is a free spirit and he's like, do it, whatever you want to do, just do it. And so in 2019, that it started to really fuel me. So I once my grandmother really got sick, I decided to take that leap. And I did that so I could be able to take care of her at home full time and also work at home on our business while caretaking for my grandmother. Now, my prior to that, Bobby had already been um, gardening as a hobby. Jamal, like 2016. I really like to say that Bobby's whole passion for gardening started once I got pregnant. I keep up with that timeline by Coy's age. My daughter is 5.5 years old. 5.5 years ago, Bobby started the fire department. He started his passion with gardening, farming, and then he also became a father. So back in 2015, I literally saw our family plant seeds that are just now being harvested in 2021. So back then, when he started playing around with gardening, I was pregnant. And he would like do all this crazy stuff in our backyard, Jamal. He literally chopped our whole backyard up in our home in East Memphis in the Germantown area. And he started playing around with tires. This man used to go get like old tires that he would find on the side of the street, tires that I would bust that were in our garage, and he would start planting in those tires in our backyard. And before you knew it, Jamal, my backyard was full of tires of Bobby experimenting with gardening. So I kind of watched him for quite some time in the summer of 2015 play around with his gardening. So as time went along, and in 2016, 2017, I kind of I saw his passion grow from being in a hobby to something that he was full-fledged, passionate, and had, um, just the effort to want to actually take it serious. So as he started to take it serious, he started to plant more things and he started to get really good at it, Jamal. So in 2019, when that year started to roll around, simultaneously all of these things were going on, and I decided to say, hey Bobby, look, we're about to make all of these changes. We're about to move full time in with grandmother to help take care of her. I'm about to start entrepreneurship. Let's really take your gardening serious. Now, like I told you, he was planting and growing all this stuff. And I was noticing that, he was getting a lot of positive support from his gardening at home in our backyard.
By
Like
positive
Jamal, I
support,
would
Slim, she's
literally
talking
have,
about people jumping the gate. She's talking about
yes, like
that's
literally, I've had friends
the
who
jumping the fence for the
jumped
herbs.
our gate in our backyard to simply get some mint or get something for their cocktail. Like I had a friend jump our fence one time because she wanted to get a piece of mint to add to her cocktail when she made it at home after work. So
One
Okay.
more
it's
thing about
like
one more thing. Let me
something
just clarify. I just want to bring some clarity in right quick. By jumping the fence, we don't mean this is like a pounce. This is a very small leap, or
Okay.
maybe a
a
pushing
bounce.
of the gate open. So this is a Whitehaven term when we say jump the fence. Slim. You
I
know what
was
we mean.
so say like
We mean breaking and
She
entering.
bounced by
That's
it.
what we mean.
she said a friend of hers, she was like, y'all got women out here jumping fences
Yeah,
for fresh mints.
yeah. Just let's just say crossing the threshold because jumping the fence just leaves a lot
She
to imagine. Yeah.
she did, Jamal. Like, like
But it
that
was
is
cool,
one of many
and
stories
I'm
that
gonna
we
let you. I
can
don't want to
do.
cut you off, baby, 'cause I know you're putting a lot of order to it. But it was really cool to see so many of our friends engaging in what started off
And
as a
just have
hobby, but we
interest in
started to
what we
see, yeah, it was like a collective,
yeah, that was,
yeah,
one of many stories that we have where we started to get support from our friends, our family, church members, neighborhood
coworkers.
members who just, wanted to get some of our harvest. And so as I noticed, that the support was, coming from all different type of ways. I even noticed on his job, Bobby was growing, peppers and okra, and he would take it to work. And I would notice that, every other day when he was going to work, the bulk started to get larger, Jamal. One day he would take a few tomatoes, then I'll look up the next day, this man got 10 tomatoes, 10 peppers, 10 okras, 10 cucumbers. And
The
then
boys
I'm
getting
like,
spoiled, man.
Bobby,
Getting
what are
spoiled,
you doing
Slim.
with all of this
At first, they
stuff?
didn't want. At
It
first, they
was,
were kind of like, "Is that clean? Is that cool? Is that?" We have such
yeah,
a like our brain does this weird thing with nature. Like we want to scrub all the soil off the food because we think that that's dirty. When in essence, that's the microbiology that's going to be in your gut. That's your gut biome. But we're scrubbing and sanitizing and scrubbing because we're so scared of like bacteria and we're made of bacteria essentially, but it's so we feel completely natural to go and just get some food through a window, like and not questioning nothing about it, like just so what gardens and farming does, what I'm noticing is it instantly brings this like it's like, and it doesn't even matter how old you are. You don't have to be 5 years old. You could be 33 years old and then be like, oh yeah, that's right. A strawberry does grow outside. It doesn't grow in Kroger. Like they just sell it to me, but they don't
right,
grow the food. And so gardeners do that. They kind of snatch you and remind you like, you're part of a living system. You know what I'm
right,
saying? And to see
right,
like our friends kind of go through that too, that was cool. That's like, oh, okay,
right.
something's going on here. Yeah.
It
This
was
is what I
very
was going
cool.
to ask. I was going to ask about the reception that you got to the when you started to take gardening seriously, because part of like what you just said, like it's almost like you read the question from my notebook. Like Memphis is known. When you think of Memphis, you don't necessarily think of fresh herbs, fresh
Right.
veggies. Yeah, you think of the barbecue, you think of the wings, and we love that stuff. Don't get it wrong. But I would say, since I mean, y'all moved back in 2015, I moved back in 2013.
Okay.
Since there's been a concentrated effort in trying to get Memphians and people to eat better, and having
Yeah.
these type
Yeah.
having what you guys are doing in these type of instances where you can get some fresh vegetables, some fresh food, whatever. Like we got all these food deserts in the city. Like once
Mhm.
you come back home and you start seeing exactly what's going on here in terms of the fresh food options that most of the city has is kind of sad. So to see, I was wondering what the reception was. I see that it was pretty positive for that. So how did the whole Black Seed, how did it all come together? You took Bobby's hobby of gardening, you had your entrepreneurial background, put them together, and Black Seeds was formed. How and why?
Okay, let me do this one.
Okay.
Or let me start this one because I know you're gonna bring it on home, baby. You're gonna bring the cows home. So the regular look off. So this was the marriage between, like, this is how it all came together. So her Miss Freeman, she ended up passing, and she passed on
May
her
of
own will,
2019.
May of 2019, in her own home, in her own room. Um, under the
Surrounded by
care of her
love and
family
family.
members. And she was surrounded by family members. And I'm in a really, really dramatic career where I see some people get the pass like that, and some people don't really get that option. Some people it's like super traumatic, and it just people just going somewhere and something happened. And sometimes people get to live to their 88, and they can, like look around and be like, okay, everything's fine here. She good, Bobby here. Okay, everything good. Like that is like a really, really humbling, and I felt honored to be a part of caring for her, and so like
Oh, that's sweet, Bobby.
yeah, but when you take care, when you're a first responder for a city of people, the personal interactions are what you remember. Because somebody told me this, they were like, you might not remember what somebody said, but you'll always remember how they made you feel.
Yeah.
So to me, that's like a difference between the heart and the mind. And so, because your heart kind of holds those feelings in, the brain just, whatever they say. I forget people's name all the time, you know. Uh, but you don't forget how people make you feel. You know what I mean? You remember that, in good or indifferent. And so, and when her grandmother passed, they had a repast at the home after the funeral and everything. And so, at the repast, it was in a car shed outside, and everybody was here. We had college friends, old friends, just family members. Everybody was here, neighbors. And everybody started to spill into the garden. Like we didn't ask nobody to come back there. People just spilled in, like water, like the floodgates literally just opened up, and they just started picking rosemary and smelling lavender and smelling lemongrass, and picking up the guitar, and we looked around, and people were talking loud and laughing. And so her grandmother was still very much present, but it was in a different medium, kind of like how um the leaves that fell from last year, they're not there anymore. You don't see them, but the tree is their nutrients. They're minerals now for the uptake of the tree. It's food for the tree now, so it's very much still present. So that was my moment when I got a chance to look deep into the nature of things, and then to see like, wait a minute, nothing is really ever leaving, or coming. It's everything is kind of just, like it's like a dance, like this cool kind of. And so that moment when after her grandmother transitioned, that's when we really kind of to understand like this interconnected aspect of gardening, and we wanted to include people in that, because now, so you got to think about it. I'm coming home from work from the fire station. I got a garden in my backyard, so that was like the kicking spot. It turned into the kicking spot. Like folks was like, after work, Rich, what you doing? You want to meet up at the, and so we get off at 7 in the morning. Sometimes we be out there to like 9 in the morning. And I was sometimes there'd be three other friends, and I'll have an outside perspective on seeing them kind of just have like a debriefing of the day. Like, man, bro, today was a tough day, or I had a
Yeah,
bad call, and so I'm like, man, this is making people vulnerable enough to kind of have these moments of,
it does.
where they
And
can
I want
share
to
things
throw
that really
this
make them
in
lighter.
too, Bobby.
Go
Mhm.
ahead.
I want to add this, Ma, because that's a really important component of Black Seeds, and how we started the social aspect of Black Seeds is the more people who visited our garden, we started to see how it was therapeutic for them. I
Yeah,
would watch Bobby and his co-workers after work come to our garden after, a long night. They have a strenuous job, and they would get off work, come to our garden, and literally use it as a relax pad. They would literally release themselves
man, we
after
were
a long
chilling.
shift in our backyard. I would get up in the mornings and I would see Bobby, Keatron, Strickland, all these guys in my backyard. I'm like, what are
Hey,
they
she'll
doing?
text me, Slim. I get a text message. I look at my phone. Y'all too loud.
Yeah,
Y'all
I'm like,
too.
it's 8 o'clock in the
Y'all too
morning,
loud.
and they are out there like having a great
Kicking it.
time. And that is
Uh,
what, kind of
Sometimes it'd be tears.
added
Sometimes it
to
wouldn't be
our
up
Black
time.
Sea
Sometimes,
Speaks.
yeah, it'd be.
Mhm.
Just so it was,
Yeah, it was
that
it
was
was
the
an
spot.
area.
Yeah, that
Mm-hmm.
was like you said, cool down spot, the reflect,
It was
the
like a cool
reflection
down
spot,
spot.
uh, to remember what was going on. Okay, so we got there, and you realize that this is something that could be bigger than what you thought. It could be completely bigger than just being, the thing that you do to kind of center yourself and whatever. What made you want to? What made y'all want to like bring this to the masses? Looking at the too.
Well, we missed out a small part in 2019 when we started full care taking for my grandmother in my grandmother's home in Castaic. I moved back home. I hadn't lived in that house since I was 17 years old.
Oh, I thought y'all
Uh,
talked about. Okay, yeah, yeah, that's yeah.
no, my family has owned my grandparents' house for about 65 years. And so that house is literally the family spot. So when we moved back home to my house in Castaic, in that house in the backyard, my grandfather had a garden. Now my grandfather passed away in 2009, and throughout my childhood and even in my mother's childhood and my aunts and uncles, my grandfather maintained a garden. Everybody in the Castaic neighborhood, they know the Freeman family. And many people know that my grandfather used to garden. And so when we moved back to Castaic and Bobby started to um, revitalize my grandfather's garden, that was the haha moment for me, to see him go from tires in our small backyard to maintaining my grandfather's garden. Now my uncle, I have an uncle named Bubba, who's a retired lieutenant for the Memphis Fire Department. Bobby and my uncle Bubba are close. Bobby, he's really close to all of my uncles. But this particular uncle used to work in my grandfather's garden. My grandfather taught him how to garden, and so he is very well versed with being a gardener. And so when we moved back home, he started to show Bobby some of the things that he knew that my grandfather taught him. So when they got in that backyard, I was able to see Bobby garden on a larger scale. And that was the moment that I said, okay, now he's ready to go to a bigger, a larger level of gardening.
Family, man, you said it and I wrote it down here, but we kind of got off of it. Like you basically you left your job to take care of your grandmother, and you mentioned the size of your family, and it was one of the things that I realized when I moved back. Family, man, like I was living on the West Coast, being so far away from your family, you don't realize what you're missing until you get back here. You're around
right.
And just to hear you talk, like the questions I was going to ask have already been answered because of the two things you guys just said, how your families have been interacting, how y'all have brought the families into it. And I think that's just so important. This is not something unique to Memphis, but
It's not.
but I think it's something that Memphis pushes on you because
Effects.
almost everybody in Memphis, I ain't gonna say almost everybody in Memphis, but people in Memphis got big families. And a
Yeah.
cousin is a cousin, and you know somebody. So like it's wonderful to see family members involved and see family members caring so much about the work that y'all are doing and helping out with that. So real quick, B, tell me about Firefighter. Tell me about being a firefighter. Like you mentioned that you sometimes you have some tough days. So tell me about what's it like to be a city of Memphis firefighter for the city of Memphis.
Man, so being a firefighter, it has been well, let me tell you how I got the job. So that'd be a cool place to start. Deravia's uncles, I think she told you a little bit how um they one of them has been a lieutenant for probably like 20 years, and he was a firefighter for maybe 30 years, 33 years. And everybody know him on the job. He was probably like he came on maybe 3 or 4 years right when they started letting black people come on the fire department. And so he was like a part of those pioneers on. And so
Crazy
had a
guys.
conversation.
If you think about it for a minute, they didn't let black people be firefighters. Like you didn't let black people put their lives on the line to save other people. If you think about it,
Man,
that's
it's
your story.
Mm.
Go ahead. Uh-oh, I think the princess just walked in the room.
Right. You hear that daddy, that dad. Look, I'm in my office today, so it's daddy day.
uh, okay, so let's see if you gonna still handle that, because I didn't want to ask you another question while he was explaining that, but I
Okay.
guess we can. We can get back to him. So we'll talk about the
Oh,
future.
Mike, I'm here. My bad, Slim. My bad,
Okay.
Slim. I want
Yeah.
to tell you about this firefighter stuff.
Yeah. Let us know this fire. Yeah.
Because you just said something real cool about the fact that they won't even let you risk your life for your own community, which is which is my favorite part about the job. My dad's not a firefighter. My mom's not a firefighter, EMTs or medics or any of that stuff. Like, you know, I kind of had to learn that stuff as we went and, get qualified and get certified and all that kind of stuff. But kind of seeing her uncles do the job and be able to be themselves. She got another uncle named Chip, Eddie Morrison, he's from, what I'm saying, Louisiana, and he's himself. Like, he talks loud, he curses. He's full of love. He loves real. Like, and the other Uncle Bubba is the same way. Like, they stern, they stand up for what's right. And so to see them in a career that's inherently not meant for them, this is the police department is right, wasn't at some point, historically speaking. Um, it's a game changer because uh it's a difference between taking the white only sign off of the door and letting me work beside you. But it's a completely different thing when you have to include the things that I believe in my culture and what's in my mind and what's in my heart. Like, when things really become truly inclusive, people kind of start to get uncomfortable because some people feel like things are being taken away from them. When really, I'm just letting you know how I feel. It's never been considered before. The way a black firefighter feels has never necessarily been considered front page. Because we just get broadly brushed like we're all like, one monolithic thing. And so, i.e., perfect example, Slim. I just got me, Director Sweat, Deputy Chief Marcus Smith. We all sat down for the past 4 months talking about the hair policy and how discriminatory it was. Not just, you know, gender specific, but racially discriminatory. It was rules in there like no afros, no dreadlocks, no cornrows. But they were talking to everybody. It's like they were saying like, "Hey, white people, black people, Chinese dude over there, Mexican dude over there. Hey, no afros, y'all. And by the way, no dreadlocks." And I'm like, Director Sweat, y'all not talking to everybody. I mean, you're talking to one group of people, and it's unfairly discouraging them from even applying for the job. And it's those type of conversations that you think that are going to be awkward, but right on the other side of those conversations are solutions, bro. It's just a matter of sitting down with people, talking about them, having heartfelt conversations, and painting a picture. Because Jamal, just like I'm talking to you right now, Director Swell was like, "What?" Like she had like I was talking like I was explaining a movie to her that she ain't seen before. She was like, "And what happened? What they said? About your hair?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. But she's a old, she's a white lady. So the strife and the what I have to go through on an everyday basis about my hair and ethnocentric beauty standards and how I fall on the opposite side of professionalism, just by the way my hair naturally grows. She doesn't know about these things on that everyday basis. And so painting that picture to her, she felt that. She was empathetic towards that. It resonated with her. And so it took a little bit, it took about 4 months, and then they end up revising the hair policy saying, hey, everybody can grow their hair any kind of way they want to. If it's longer than your collar, put it in a ponytail or a bun, depending on the texture of your hair. See how they're considering the textures of your. That was never a consideration, Slim. It was always just, I mean, all y'all, you know.
I mean, when you put in your bylaws no afros, like, come on, a white person ain't having no afro in the first place.
Right.
Come on, man. And then biologically, our hair is just, everybody's different and things do different things, and just seeing them choose to take this as an opportunity to be on the, to be on the right side of
Yeah.
not just history, but because that really, it kind of excludes in a place. I mean, Memphis. I mean, it's what 69-70% black, and you're saying no afros, no dreadlocks, no
Right.
cornrows. That's you're
It's like,
missing
who
out
are
on
you
some
talking
high
to?
grade
Yeah.
people, man. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And
So,
I
but
just want to interject
yeah,
because it's so important, Jamal. And that's something that, I truly believe is a part of my purpose. And that is to be a pioneer, to be one of the progressive leaders to change the narrative. It is our responsibility to do that. Bobby has been on this, fight to be a change agent with the hair policies and the fire department. And when he first started that, I had to sit back and think about it. I was like, you know what, Bobby, you are absolutely right. These are policies, these are rules that were created 30, 40 years ago. Things are
yeah.
changing.
Mm.
And if you don't bring it up, Bobby, then who will?
And I
Are
was
you?
uncomfortable with that, Slim. The Ravens know
Yeah.
that I'm not confrontational. You know that, Slim. I'm not. I didn't want to raise no saying, be like, look at me, or I wasn't even. Man, my dad, he called me. He was like, man, what do you think people feel like when they trying to make a change? Like this, it was a tough day. I called him. He was like, hey, man, it was one of them just like when you go through one of them seasons where you just got to feel the field, bro. Like ain't nobody
You
finna
gotta
like
feel the
bail you out.
field.
But this
You
is this
gotta
is going
do
to
it.
evolve you to the next. And so he was
Yeah.
like he was like, man, look, hey, how do you think change agents feel, bro, when they have tough nights, when they know that they're standing in the truth, they know they're on the right side of things, but it's not working out.
Right.
And so you push through. But one more point that I had wanted to say because Derravia made a great point. Um, it's because at first I thought people was gonna be like, "Hey man, Rich, bro, you doing too much. You need to sit down somewhere. You aren't you grateful to have a job?" And then what it hit me. I was like, "This has nothing to do with gratitude. I'm of course I'm grateful for the job, of course, but my hair has nothing to do with safety. It has nothing to do with nothing other than somebody somewhere arbitrarily saying that, man, I don't like that.
Right.
I don't, and just just like I said, right on the other side of me being uncomfortable for a little bit. I didn't die, nothing. I still got my job, everything's straight. But it was just sometimes you really kind of have to say, hey man, you got to raise your hand as
It's
much as we
time
don't
to
want
step
to.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
We
and
gotta
I feel
step
like
up.
that's where we kind of are too. Kind of like it just kind of segue with us in our early
Like
30s. Yeah,
collectively, we all are
it's not
stepping up.
coincidence that
It's
we're
not at
brushing
all. Whether
shoulders
it's
again and
stepping
stuff
up
like
on the
that.
fire department with being a part of a change for a hair policy, whether it's
Mm,
stepping up in the agriculture industry and
mm,
recreate narratives that there aren't any black farmers, because there
yeah,
are many black farmers.
Mm.
Whether it's stepping up to the plate with a podcast, just like what you're doing,
yeah,
Jamal,
creating a
and just
space,
showing, yeah,
Slim.
creating a
That's
space for people like
major,
myself
man,
and
bro,
Bobby to speak about what we're doing, and
bro.
for others to know that Memphis is not this bad city that we have been. Um, there's a stigma on Memphis, and people like us, we have to step up to that plate and show that there are professional people in Memphis. There are progressive leaders here in Memphis. There are change agents in Memphis. Here recently, someone called Bobby and I culture chaperones, and I thought
Hey, that was so
that
funny.
was
I thought
really cool.
it was
But to
like,
be a culture
it was like,
chaperone is
hey,
super
Slim, I did this. I was
important,
like, I got a chaperone badge.
I'm about to say,
right?
we ain't that old to be chaperones.
They
So,
called us
the
culture
chaperone be looking.
chaperones. I
We
had to look around. I'm like, okay, do I need to take that?
we ain't that old. Yo, so it's so funny that how you said that, Dravia, because I actually wrote down like when you use the phrase change agents to be about black gardeners, because you don't think, when you think of it, you don't think too many black gardeners.
You don't.
And so let's talk about real quick, because I know we have 45 minutes right now.
Okay.
What is the future of Black Season? You said you got a farm opening up here pretty soon.
Yes, we are opening up in the Uptown area. We are super excited to be a part of the Greenlaw community in the Uptown area. The Uptown area is really growing. And in the next few years, it is going to be a part of Memphis that, not many people knew about in the past, but a huge part of Memphis that is growing and that is redeveloping and reimagining areas that were blight. And so we were blessed to be able to be a part of this big plan that's going on in Uptown. And so our garden is in an area, a progressive area, and we're just happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Some of the work I do professionally, on the riverfront and all of that, it leads right up to Uptown. Like, I mean, Uptown is basically, it's still on the river. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it is. It's on the other side of downtown, and there are a lot of new establishments, new businesses. There are families, more families moving to that area, and we are, a part of that. So we're happy about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
so here we go.
I
Now
agree.
I got to some of the Memphis centric stuff. So I'm gonna ask a question. Each one of y'all can answer it about the stuff. So here we go. Your favorite restaurant. Your
Here
favorite
they
restaurant.
go. Okay, these boys are cold. Okay. All right, this is what I've been waiting on. My favorite. Oh,
Okay,
oh, bro.
I mean,
In
we gotta throw
particular,
Evelyn and Olive out there because we eat that every other day.
Evelyn Olive is good.
Evelyn and Olive, bro. Evelyn and Olive is yeah, they know
Yeah,
me on a first name
we've
basis.
been trying to stick to more black owned restaurants here in Memphis. We got to shout out Slim and Huskies, fellow TSU classmates. They're the owners of Slim and Huskies. That pizza is
Yeah,
good, so
It's fire,
shout
dog.
out to my
it
boy.
is.
Yeah,
Even
shout out.
Yeah,
okay, then the one thing that is super, your favorite wing spot.
favorite
I'm
wing
vegetarian,
spot.
but I gotta shout out
Bobby doesn't
my
eat
boy
any meat.
Ray's man. I gotta shout out my boy Ray at Down South Wings and Grill, man, on Florida Street. Over there Riverside. You know what I'm talking about, Jamal?
Yeah, I know you're
If you
talking about.
do, I about to say.
For asking that question, if I should have known you were a vegetarian. Now I'm out here like an idiot. Hey, what kind of wings you eat, player?
But Slim, I'm not like that. See, I'm not one of them dudes to be like, oh man, hey man, oh man, you just touch some meat, nah, can't shake your, nah, hey, I ain't like that. It still smells good. Look, I just don't eat it.
I commend
Hey.
you. There's no way. There is no
Look,
way.
I'm not an activist, Jamal. Look,
There's no
I'm
way.
all about going to the barbecues.
Yeah,
I
no meat
just
for
stick to the
Bobby.
side. Yeah.
Uh, Side, you look at some of that coleslaw potato salad. All right, here we go. Favorite favorite Memphis song or a song by a Memphian. What's your favorite? Like, what's your favorite Memphis song?
Favorite
Go get
Memphis
him back
song.
in blood. Blood. Go get him
Yeah,
back in
we
blood.
repping that Pooh Shiesty.
Hey,
Hey,
Hey, hey,
yeah,
hey,
he a
hey,
young
hey,
man
hey,
coming
hey.
out of South Memphis. We with it. Shout out to Pooh
That's
Shiesty. Shout out to the
that's the
new
young one, but
1017. Hey,
that's the young generation. That's the young generation. But let me give you an old generation then too, Slim. So that's for the young. That's for the young folk. But
yeah.
for the folk about me, speed 87, 88. I'm a gorilla owner.
Oh yeah, Project Pat,
I'm
man.
a
I'm a pimp, baby. You ain't
Yeah,
no
dig
dig
that. Come
that.
on, man. Yeah, that's my boy.
yeah. You can't go wrong with that. It's such a classic. It's
You
just
cannot. Memphis
Classic, bro.
classic. Come on
Classic,
now.
Slim.
well. Look, man.
Classic.
I appreciate y'all and thank y'all so much for giving me some time to talk about what y'all got going on, kind of profile y'all. I really think that people want to learn when they learn more about Black Seeds and what y'all got going is going to take off a little bit more, but also when they just get to learn the true you and know more about you, because both of y'all personalities are amazing and what you're doing it actually helps. So for people that want some more information, where can they go? Y'all got an email address or website for people to go to find out more about Black Seeds?
I
Yes,
do
our
it for.
email is blackseeds2020 at gmail.com. You can also follow us on Instagram at blackseedsurbanfarms.com. Black Seeds Urban Farms. I'm sorry, that's our Instagram page. We post regularly, and if anybody has any questions, please DM us, and we'll be, on top of getting that answer to you as soon as we can.
They are very responsive, very quick. And don't the baby is nice in these settings, but she a businesswoman, so get
For
it
sure.
right.
That's
Thank
right.
you. Yes, he know
That's
I
right.
don't
That's
play at
right.
all, Jamal.
She
At
do not
all.
play.
Man, word.
Once again,
Thank
man.
God she gives me order. She gives me order to my abstractness. You can't have squiggly lines everywhere. You gotta have
That's
some
what
type
good
of
wives do. That's what
yeah.
good wives do. I know mine keep
Thank
me in
you.
order. Oh, those, you know
That's
what?
right.
Next question. I guess do I got time? What's it like working together, husband and wife?
Oh, wow.
Hey,
That's a really great
we've
question,
never got
Jamal.
asked. I don't think nobody asked us that ever.
Marriage, you have to put work and effort into your marriage anyways. And by us being business partners, that is a little, extra work that we have to put effort towards. But we try to, in our marriage and in our business partnership, we try to make sure that we communicate as best as we can. I mean, even the smallest details. Bobby know if a color changes, if just meticulously watching and communicating everything that goes on and being open and always making sure that we are doing what's best for each other. It balances out, and we have a mutual goal that we're trying to reach. So we just make sure that we work hard at it. We keep a good balance. We try not to fault. We don't fault each other, because that is how you can easily dwindle down into many problems. But we
Hmm.
just keep our head up and just try to just work and do what we can to reach our goals.
I was gonna say too, Slim, kind of like how like you and Alex, me and like we're old friends, bro. Like you know what I'm saying, and like we kind of have we've had the opportunity, which not out in hindsight, I look back, it's really a blessing to kind of like establish a true friendship before the avalanche of like all the social media stuff. Like we had Facebook when we first started to like date,
Deep,
but we didn't have like, but that was just only for college students. You
right.
remember that? Like you had to have the email and all that stuff, and so once that was kind of had like a rock, you know what I'm saying, foundation. Then all the other stuff is kind of like leaves, kind of like blowing, and it comes and then it goes, and then it's going somewhere else. And it allows us to kind of focus and laser beam focus on the objective, which keeps us out of being in competition with each other, which keeps us from
Keeps us
having
from
all
being out of
these
competition with other people too, because we in
with
our
other
own
yeah,
lane.
right, because in that aspect, nothing really, the problems that come with trying to reach the objectives, that's a part of the whole story. um because the journey is really that's the beauty in it, because once you get to the point, you're going to want to accomplish something else. That's really the carrot dangling in front of the face,
Yeah.
is the accomplishment, because once you get that, you're going to want to grab something else and something else. So just kind of remembering that even the ups and the downs and the disappointments and whatever, just taking it all as one whole book, and it's a beautiful story, bro. So that's
Yeah, it is.
that's
And we,
that's
we just got to keep that common goal at the front of us. We are
yeah,
planning to build a legacy, and we can't lose sight of that.
I tell
yeah,
y'all one,
and for other people too. Yeah.
y'all got away with words. I can tell you that boy Bobby said something about stories and books. I'm like, let me write that down.
I said, where my pen at?
But
Damn,
yeah,
boy,
let's
that
go
boy
back
good.
to
That boy good.
That's so funny.
that for myself. But yo, man, like I said, those were beautiful words. I wish you all the best for Black Seeds and
Love you,
relationship.
Jamal. Really, bro. Thank you.
So with
Thank
that,
you.
this has been the M Made Me with Bobby and Derravia Rich, creators and founders of Black Seeds Urban Farms.
Thank you, M Town for life.
Peace and love. Peace and love, Black Haven.